What's up, guys, in the works, and nothing like a little tow missile ownage to start off this video, but we are playing some Capture the Flag, and this is going to be my overview of the Capture the Flag game mode, my review, my thoughts on it, because I've played a lot of Capture the Flag at this point, and there's been a lot of mixed experiences. I've had a lot of fun sometimes, and other times it's been not so fun, so I'm going to go over some of the things I like, some of the things I dislike about the Capture the Flag game mode, which was the new game mode that came with in-game. So off the bat, I don't necessarily think some of the biggest problems in Capture the Flag are necessarily the game mode itself, but I want to give you guys an honest review, and sometimes the player base can really ruin the way you look at a particular game mode, and Capture the Flag is no exception. And I will point out, when Conquest Domination first came out, I did not like that game mode. I still don't think it's the best game mode in the world, but it's not as bad as it used to be. It's not to the point where everybody is putting C4 on the flags. You know, you got to the point where you're actually, to throw the grenade on the flag if you don't want to get blown up in Conquest Domination. It took me a while with Capture the Flag to really kind of understand, hey, people are playing this a lot like they played Conquest Domination when it first came out. They're C4 and flags, they're surrounding flags with mines, all sorts of different things that make it really frustrating to play. They play really campy, there's a lot of defense, and in that first clip, I was on defense. I got stuck in the base, there was a constant onslaught of people coming towards me, and so I just relegated myself to playing defense. But moving the flag from point A to point B can be easier said than done. Very rarely on PC do I ever get to the point where we complete a round. We always go to the time limit. We never get our, our max flag caps or anything like that. So it seems like from my experiences so far that a lot of people just need to break out of their shell. They need to play the game mode a little bit more fast-paced. They need to move around a little bit. I think PC is guilty of just having too many players on the servers, which makes it almost impossible to get the flag to begin with. And if you do get the flag, more times than not, you're really not going to stand a very good chance of returning it, because the people that aren't in the base are probably pushed up in the middle, like you saw me there with the sniper, and they're not really, they're not really doing a whole lot. There's not a lot of movements. There's a lot of standoff scenarios. But when you do get into a good game, it can be very action-packed, and I love that. I'm playing with an organized team here, and we're actually making some progress moving the flag from point A to point B. And I think that's when this game mode can be a lot of fun. Those heart-pounding, action-packed chases, like right here. This is like something you'd see from the trailer. I'm in the anti-air Humvee. I've got an awesome driver. The tank's trying to get away with our flag. We're chasing him down. This is almost exactly the same as the in-game launch trailer. You've got the dirt bikes riding behind you. You're trying to shoot them down with the secondary launcher here on the Humvee. And it's pretty action-packed. And these are the moments that make Capture the Flag fun. It's what really makes it rewarding, the fact that we caught up to this guy in the Humvee, a faster vehicle chasing down the tank. I've mentioned that the tank and being able to go in there with the flag makes it really frustrating at times, especially if you get a good crew, someone who's a really good tank driver, someone who has a team of engineers on top of them. They can keep that tank alive for a really long time, and it's really easy to get from point A to point B. So one thing that I wish they would have changed is don't make it so that you can put the flag in every single vehicle, especially helicopters. Okay, I know they're really easy to shoot down now with these anti-air Humvees, but I have seen some really good helicopter pilots just take the flag, jump in the scout chopper, boom, score, boom, score, boom, score, and it's really like rinse and repeat. Now that's a victim of, I'm just on a bad team. They don't know how to kind of counter that kind of thing. It rewards skillful pilots, but I think the notion of Capture the Flag should remain on the ground, and I don't really think tanks should be brought into the mix. Now, I do like that you actually have to stand on the flag a little bit longer to, pick it up, to recapture it. I think that's one of the cool things. I know I was recording for an underused weapons with the USAS frag rounds. I do not use the USAS frag rounds very much. They are pretty horrible though, so if you haven't used them lately, they're pretty painful. But I do like that you actually have to spend a set amount of time recapturing the flag if you want to be able to pick it back up. I think that makes it more, action-packed. It makes it more dynamic, and I do like that about the game mode. Now, like I said, the community's really gotten to the point where they don't know how to break out of their shell in this game mode. I don't know what it is. I think that people are just bashful. I think the high player counts kind of push people to say, well, I've got 15 other people that are pushed forward. I'll just hang back here on the flag. There's no reason for me to move forward, and what it creates is really slow gameplay. What it creates is a lot of base rape, a lot of spawn killing, and that's one of the things that I'm going to touch on towards the end. Is the biggest downfall of Capture the Flag is the horrible, and I mean absolutely horrible spawning system. People will spawn right on top of you when you're inside their base. If you watched my first thoughts video, I had a clip where I was sitting in a tank and people were just sitting there spawning in front of me. It was like, okay, this is no fun. There's no, no skill involved here when I'm just sitting here killing people as they come into the game. And it's one of the most frustrating things about Capture the Flag, and it's one of the things that's really been killing it for me. The fact that you can just push in there and it doesn't really give the team much of a chance. I guess if you could argue that, hey, that team didn't push forward far enough, and that they're not a skilled enough team and the better team is winning. But I don't really look at it like that. I think that kind of kills the competitive aspect of it. The fact that they can just sit inside your base and just sit there and kill you over and over and over doesn't make it a very fun experience as a whole. So that's one of the things I don't like about Capture the Flag. I think overall it's not my favorite game type. I don't like it a ton. I think that it's okay. I think that it may have promise here in the future, but as it stands right now, I just don't see it as one of my most played game types. I don't see myself playing it a lot after it kind of, the newness factor wears off. Maybe I'll come back, revisit it sometime later on in the month when people have had a chance to kind of figure out, hey, we need to move around a little bit, and maybe I'll actually get into some good games where we don't always just go to the time limit. But let me know what you guys think about Capture the Flag. This is just my opinion. I've experienced the game just the same as you guys, and sometimes people have different opinions. So it's not a bad game mode for everyone. I'm sure some of you guys really enjoy it. Like I said, I think my opinions are a little bit skewed from the high player counts, just the games I've been in, the players that have played in the games I've been in. But overall, I haven't had a ton of fun in Capture the Flag. So like I said, let me know what you guys think. If you missed any of my other videos, here's a chance to catch up. I did my first thoughts video on in-game on the left, and on the right over there is my first little look at the rush mode on in-game. So check those out, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.